Mess around and find out. Perhaps that should be the next logo on Trump hats. Reportedly, President Trump is now considering a multitude of options when it comes to taking out the drug cartels, including military strikes hitting targets inside of Venezuela. Tuesday's deadly Marine strike on a narco-terrorist drug boat departing Venezuela killed 11 members of the notorious Tren de Aragua gang. Trump amping up the pressure to destroy the Maduro regime by raising the bounty on the Venezuelan leader's head to $50 million. The amount of drugs and chemicals being intercepted by U.S. authorities under the Trump administration, it is staggering. Customs and Border Patrol officers in Laredo, Texas, recently intercepted $37 million worth of meth from a commercial truck. But Venezuelan cartels like Tren de Aragua and the Sinaloa are not acting alone. They're working in concert with China to poison and kill as many Americans as possible.
These 1,300 barrels were shipped from Shanghai, China to Mexico. We intercepted these precursors on the high seas, and now the Sinaloa cartel will not be able to use them to make methamphetamines.
Those barrels that were just behind her, Janine Pirro right there, containing 700,000 pounds, the largest seizure of precursor chemicals used to make meth in U.S. history. In retaliation for the second time in 2 days, Venezuela has flown military aircrafts over the USS Jason Dunham near South America. When asked about it, here's what the president said.
Venezuela flies jets over U.S. naval vessels again.
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want, okay? If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do. Right?
You just heard it right there. That's right. The president on live TV authorizing the Pentagon to shoot down the planes if they got dangerously close to the U.S. military deployment in the Caribbean. President Trump's designation of several cartels now allowing him to hit harder and faster. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, he issued this warning to the cartels.
If you're trafficking drugs and you're a known cartel entity, a designated terror organization, and they're headed for the United States or part of a process that would head to the United States, that will have lethal consequences. The poisoning of the American people is over. A lot of people have talked about it. But President Trump is willing to, as the world has learned, whether it's the Houthis and freedom of navigation, or Midnight Hammer, or even securing our southern border, when he says he's going to do it, we do it.
President Trump, when he says he'll do something, he will do it. Under the Biden administration, though, he's got a big mess to clean up. An estimated 20 million illegals poured into our nation, and God only knows how many drugs and illegal guns also came in. The CDC reporting that the number of drug overdoses among Americans is declining, but tens of thousands of Americans are still being poisoned every single year. Last year alone, 80,000, and most of them are young people, and they died of a drug overdose. Fentanyl responsible for most of those deaths. Fentanyl is so potent that a dose roughly the size of a few grains of salt is lethal for most people. And now there's a drug 40 times more potent than even fentanyl. It's called nitazene. It's a synthetic opioid, once again produced in China and trafficked by the cartels and brought here, of course, smuggled into the U.S. The drug, it's even resistant to Narcan. And now a new bipartisan bill, the Nitazene Control Act, would close legal loopholes that traffickers exploit. In a message to all who want to do us harm, the Trump administration then sent 10 stealth fighter planes to Puerto Rico. The president also restoring the Pentagon back to the Department of War.
We won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to go woke and we changed the name to Department of Defense. So we're going Department of War.
Clearly, President Trump's words as his subsequent actions proving to the world that we are back. We now have a commander-in-chief that means what he says and says what he means. Peace through strength, offense, not just defense, and mess with the U.S., and you may pay the price with your life.